Enjoy your time here and find peace in the stories we tell. If you liked the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. Reborn, I returned to the day I just married into the Marquis Manor. My husband's cousin came to pay respects to me. Sophia Lynn pays respects to sister-in-law. I hurriedly helped her up, conveniently checking her pulse. So this is the concubine my husband keeps in the manor. Indeed a beautiful young lady. Quickly stand up, you're pregnant, don't tire yourself. Everyone at the banquet was shocked. My husband was both surprised and angry. What nonsense are you saying? My cousin is still an untouched maiden, pure and innocent. How can you make such accusations? The cousin looked wronged, suddenly turned and retched. What, you still won't admit it? Could she have been forced? Cousin, don't be afraid. If you've been wronged, just tell me. I'll stand up for you. I am Eleanor Ning, the only daughter of the general's Manor. My father is the Grand General of the nation with illustrious military achievements. Since father had no sons and mother passed away early, father feared I'd have no support in the future, so he personally requested a marriage decree from the emperor for me. In my previous life, to ease father's worries, I brought a generous dowry and married into the N1 Marquis Manor, becoming the crown princess of the manor. My husband Marcus Jing left me alone on our wedding night, then the next day he left for the battlefield. I didn't know what I had done wrong. I just wholeheartedly waited for his triumphant return. Unexpectedly, I waited for 6 years, and what I received was him bringing back a concubine and illegitimate child to the manor. I was heartbroken and wanted a divorce, but my mother-in-law advised me that men going to war cannot be without women to care for them, especially since Marcus had been at the battlefield for 6 full years. Sophia served my husband in my place and even bore him a child, saving me from the pain of childbirth. I shouldn't be jealous but should be grateful instead. Just then, my father's old wounds relapsed. Not wanting to worry father and to maintain family stability, I decided to formally accept her as my husband's concubine. For the child's future, I even registered his illegitimate child under my name, allowing him to study with the status of a legitimate son. Who knew he would never appreciate my teaching and care? From childhood, he squandered my dowry, indulging in debauchery, not only treating human lives as worthless, but also resenting me for taking him from his birth mother, not allowing her to become the principal wife. Finally, he went mad and imprisoned and tortured me to death. My husband, out of love for his concubine, protected that rebellious son and tortured me, the principal wife, to death. After I died, my body was thrown in the wilderness. He then promoted his cousin to principal wife. Later, he even conspired with Prince Li to rebel and besiege the capital. My poor father, having just lost his daughter, still had to don armor at over 50 years old to suppress the rebellion. In the end, he sacrificed himself, was beheaded, his body incomplete. My soul after death floated in the air, watching father's head being trampled under horses' hooves, his body eaten by wild dogs and crows. The hatred in my heart wouldn't dissipate. I only wanted to tear Marcus and Sophia into pieces. When I opened my eyes again, I unexpectedly found myself reborn. Back to the day I just married into the Marquis Manor. Now the grand ceremony was complete. Marcus and I had already vowed to become husband and wife. This was the time to serve tea to honor my mother-in-law. The person serving tea was Marcus's cousin, Sophia. In my previous life, I didn't know Sophia and Marcus had already conspired together. Nor did I notice this cousin disappeared right after the wedding. Thinking back now, the two of them had planned early to deceive me together. This time when Sophia served tea, I immediately attacked. Isn't this the concubine my husband keeps in the manor? Others keep theirs outside, but my husband cleverly gives her the title of cousin and directly brings a courtesan into the manor, hiding it from everyone. How clever indeed. That's right, Sophia was never Marcus's cousin, but just a courtesan he met while drinking at pleasure houses. For her, Marcus didn't hesitate to confront old Lady Jing. He even declared that if he couldn't marry Sophia, he would become a monk. Lady Jing only had this one son and had no choice but to find a way to accommodate Sophia. First having her live in the manor as a cousin, waiting until after he married his principal wife to take her as a concubine. Lady Jing knew from the start about Sophia following him to the frontier. She just hid it from me alone. When I revealed this, the entire banquet hall erupted in discussion. Marcus's face immediately darkened. What nonsense are you saying? This is my cousin, not a courtesan. My cousin is unmarried, pure and innocent. A woman's reputation is most precious. How can you make such accusations? In my previous life, because father's health was poor, I had studied medicine myself. Just now when helping Sophia up, I had taken the opportunity to check her pulse. She was definitely 1 month pregnant, no mistake. Hearing Marcus scold me, I put on an innocent, wronged look. Could I have misunderstood? But I just checked cousin's pulse and confirmed she's been pregnant for a month. I thought since she's my husband's cousin and pregnant, I should take the initiative to accept her as my husband's concubine. But if my husband doesn't acknowledge it, then this cousin, unmarried yet pregnant by someone else, wouldn't that be improper and bring shame to the family? I wonder if this cousin is from the paternal or maternal side. I heard the old Marquis only had one younger sister who married into Duke Yang's manor, now the old lady of Duke Yang's manor. The Duke's young miss surely wouldn't, or perhaps she's a relative from Lady Jing's maternal side. The county magistrate's daughter from Zunying, or the grain merchant Li's daughter. No, that's not right, neither of these families have the surname Lin. Could she be from mother's maternal grandfather's family? Then I smiled and asked Lady Jing, "Is your mother's family surnamed Lin?" Everyone knew Lady Jing's birth mother was surnamed Wang. Though I was forced to accept Sophia and her illegitimate child into the manor, I had carefully investigated her background. Yet neither side's relatives had anyone like her. Now these words became weapons to corner her. Lady Jing, hearing my constant questioning, her face darkened like the bottom of a pot, sitting rigidly in the high seat, clutching her prayer beads without saying anything. The guests also discussed animatedly. If I'm not mistaken, Lady Jing's birth mother is surnamed Wang. The crown princess is really interesting. With just one sentence she's dragged all the Jing family relatives into this. If the Jing heirs' aunts and cousins knew he was damaging their daughters' reputations, they'd surely come to settle accounts with him. Old Marquis Jing made many military achievements in his youth, but unfortunately died young, leaving only one son who turned out like this. Before marriage, he already kept a concubine in the manor. The illegitimate child even entered before the principal wife. How disgraceful. You're right, isn't young Lord Jing's cousin that Miss Sophia from Phoenix Pavilion? I even went there for entertainment and had her keep me company. Hearing you say that, it really does look like her. I can't believe young Lord Jing keeps a courtesan as a concubine in the manor. Isn't this trampling on the General Manor's reputation? Old General Ning only has one beloved daughter. How could he let this pass? This time the Jing Manor will surely face unavoidable disaster. Indeed, rumors are like knives that can drown people. Years ago, Lady Jing also used the manor's reputation to force me to accept Sophia and her son. Now the wind has changed direction. I want to see how they'll react when this blade touches them. After causing chaos in the grand hall, leaving a mess behind, I walked straight to the bridal chamber without looking back, removing my hairpins. Rose Chen, my maid, looked at me worriedly. "Miss, how did you know the young master already had a concubine before marriage?" I didn't expect the young master to look proper on the outside but be so dissolute inside. I glanced at her warningly. "Be careful, walls have ears. How dare you speak carelessly about the emperor's decree?" In my previous life, the emperor arranged my marriage to Marcus because his father had military achievements. But the emperor didn't know the Jing Marquis family were actually Prince Li's people. Years ago when Prince Li failed in the succession struggle, he never gave up his ambitions over the years, secretly forming alliances and plotting rebellion. The Anyone Marquis Manor had always obeyed Prince Li. Rose was scolded by me and stuck out her tongue. "Miss, what do we do now? You've just offended the entire Marquis Manor. They won't let this go easily. Should we return to the General's manor?" I sat on the wedding bed, gently caressing the red dates, longans, and peanuts beneath my hands. Memories from my previous life flashed through my mind, hatred surging in my heart, but my smile grew even brighter. I am the crown princess of the Marquis Manor. Why should I leave? I was brought in with 8 large sedan chairs. If I must leave, they should beg me to leave with 8 large sedan chairs. Rose looked confused. "But the young master has treated you this way. What are we still doing at the Marquis Manor? I guess the hair has no face to see anyone anymore." I smirked, my eyes toward the door. "You underestimate Marcus's shamelessness too much. The Marquis Manor looks glamorous outside but is actually rotten inside. Meeting someone like me, how could he easily let go?" Sure enough, not long after, there was movement at the bridal chamber door. Hearing the noise, I smiled and glanced at Rose. See, he's here. Marcus entered the room and saw me with my hairpins removed, sitting on the bed. Contempt flashed in his eyes as he stood with arms crossed, waving his sleeves. Crown Princess, I know you're angry about Sophia. But she's still my person and pregnant. You're the principal wife, you should be more generous. After all, the child born will still call you mother. You are my legitimate wife. This marriage was decreed by the Emperor. Why must you make such a big fuss? As long as you kneel and apologize to me, today's matter will be forgotten. You're still the crown princess of the Marquis' Manor. In my previous life, I thought since this marriage was chosen by father and decreed by the Emperor, I endured and maintained this Marquis' Manor. Now thinking coldly, from the start he never wanted this marriage, only saw me as a fool to use. Thinking of this, I laughed coldly. Young lord still considers me your crown princess. Your concubine is already pregnant, why did you still marry me? My father is the Grand General of the nation. How dare you insult me like this? Tomorrow I'll report to the Emperor and make you lose all face. My words strongly provoked Marcus. At first he still pretended, but now he couldn't keep up the act. He pointed at me and shouted, Eleanor, don't be unreasonable. People often say family scandals shouldn't be publicized. Which noble family doesn't take concubines? Who doesn't have mistresses outside? Moreover, Sophia is gentle. She won't compete with you for the position of principal wife. Even if she bears the eldest son, it's still just a concubine's child. Can't you stop making such a fuss? Hearing this, I laughed loudly. You, the heir of anyone Marquis Manor, kept a courtesan in the manor before marriage and got her pregnant. You think I'd marry into this manor and silently swallow this humiliation? Dream on. I will never consummate with you this lifetime, and don't you dare step into my room. With that, I kicked him hard in the chest. Get out. Marcus didn't expect I knew martial arts. My kick sent him rolling to the ground, his nose bleeding. The young servant attending him screamed, the young lord is bleeding. The heir has been beaten by the crown princess. Marcus, half dead, struggled to get up and kicked the servant twice. What are you screaming for? Do you want me to lose more face? Eleanor, just you wait. With that, he held his chest, wiped his bloody nose and stumbled out. Rose excitedly said, Mrs. So amazing. That betrayer deserved a lesson. I smiled coldly. This is just the beginning. I'll make the Jing family's home completely destroyed, repaying them 1,000-fold. After driving Marcus away, I drowsily fell asleep. In my hazy dream, I felt someone choking me. Opening my eyes, before me was a ghost mask floating above my head. I was startled. Who are you? Is this the underworld? Are you a ghost messenger? Am I actually dead long ago and everything that just happened was just my illusion? Hearing me speak, the person wearing the ghost mask seemed to pause, then chuckled softly and released my throat. Eleanor, you're interesting. Rumors outside say you suddenly changed personality. I thought someone had replaced you. Turns out it's not that, just that your mind is broken. Hearing that voice, I frowned. Only now did I feel the hand choking me had warmth. I immediately counterattacked, grabbing his hand tightly and pushing him onto the bed. Who are you? How dare you break into my room? Unexpectedly, he also reacted very quickly. In a blink of an eye, the one pinned down was me. Since I was alone, I only wore thin nightclothes. During the struggle, my robe loosened, revealing the pink undergarment inside. Seeing this, he froze for a moment, but then I slapped him hard, making his mask fall to the ground. You pervert. The bronze mask fell, revealing a handsome, powerful face with sharp features, bright eyes radiating hidden killing intent. After I slapped him, he was stunned at first, then his long phoenix eyes narrowed dangerously. You dare hit me? I am the daughter of the Grand General. Though I only know basic martial arts, I'm not someone weak and easy to bully. However, this man before me was tall, his build and movements showed military background. I was no match for him. Being controlled by him, I could only glare at him hatefully. Who exactly are you? Breaking into the Crown Princess's room at midnight, what's your plot? Do you believe I'll report to the authorities to arrest you? Seeing me like this, he seemed very interested, lifting my chin, forcing me to look up at him. Good, go ahead and report. I'll tell everyone the Crown Princess had an affair with me. Then the whole world will know about our relationship. Who do you think will suffer more, me or you? His words truly drove me crazy, my heart filled with rage, my eyes immediately reddened. Remembering my past life and everything I'd experienced, I felt there wasn't a single decent man in this world. My tears couldn't help but flow. Seeing me cry miserably, he seemed a bit flustered, frowning as if not understanding. "What are you crying for? I was just joking. You think I want this matter spread everywhere involving you?" Seeing me continue crying non-stop, he got annoyed. "Come on, stop crying. If you keep crying, I'll kiss you." The next second, he bent down, lips pressing against mine, warm breath immediately enveloping my face. I couldn't believe he actually kissed me. Because of his violation, I forgot I was crying. When I came to my senses, I immediately slapped him again. "You shameless bastard. Kill me if you can, otherwise Eleanor, will definitely kill you to wash away today's humiliation." He received another slap, eyes wide with anger. "You hit me again. You clearly just said if you cry, just kiss and you'll stop crying. You're a great liar. I really can't stand you. Who are you? When did I say such things? I don't know you at all, you rogue. Stop pretending." As if determined, he said nothing more and we started fighting on the bed. Unexpectedly, the commotion spread outside. Soon a series of footsteps sounded outside. Nanny Wang's voice rang out. She was Lady Jing's attendant. "Crown Princess, this old servant comes on Lady Jing's orders to inspect the manor. Please open the door, Crown Princess." I cursed under my breath, quickly covering the other person's mouth and asked, "What's the matter?" Nanny Wang answered perfunctorily. "This old servant cannot say clearly. This is the old lady's order. Please cooperate, Crown Princess. Don't make it difficult for this old servant." I lowered my voice sternly and asked the person beside me, "You're a thief, aren't you? What did you steal?" He smiled slightly, curling his lips. "You know." With that, he pulled my hand to his chest. Under my hand was the feeling of a thin ledger. I immediately had a suspicion. The reason I stayed at the Marquis' manor without leaving immediately was to get evidence of the Manor conspiring with Prince Ida rebel. Years ago, when Marquis Jing guarded the frontier, he discovered an iron mine but didn't report it to court, instead secretly manufacturing weapons to help Prince Li compete for the throne. Unexpectedly, Marquis Jing died suddenly in battle. Prince Li's plan also failed. The current emperor ascended the throne with my father's help. Over the years, Prince Li still hasn't given up his ambitions. Marquis is his eyes and ears in the capital. His military enlistment was also arranged by Prince Li. Thinking of this, I tore open the other person's collar and took out the ledger to look. He couldn't defend in time. His shirt was pulled open by me, revealing a firm chest. His face flushed red. "What are you doing?" But I ignored him, bending down to look at the ledger before me. I discovered it was indeed the record of Marquis Jing manufacturing weapons for Prince Li years ago. With this ledger, no one in the Marquis' manor could escape punishment. Great! Marcus is definitely finished this time. But he snatched the ledger from my hand, stuffing it back into his chest. "You want to report them?" "No, it's not time yet." My mind only thought of Marcus and his whole family being executed. How could I wait any longer? I said angrily, "I can't wait. I must report them right now." Just as I was about to stand up, I was pulled back onto the bed. At this time, Nanny Wang outside began to suspect. "Crown Princess, what are you doing? Open the door quickly. Is there someone in the room? If you don't open the door, don't blame this old servant for being impolite." I was extremely worried inside, but refused to let go, determined to get the ledger from this person. Just as Nanny Wang was about to break down the door, the other person suddenly pushed me away, quickly climbing up to the ceiling, like speed. The next second, the door was pushed open forcefully from outside. Rose was held tightly by the shoulders, her face full of anger. "Miss," this servant tried to stop them from entering, but they insisted on barging in. I calmed myself, putting on my outer robe, coldly looking at Nanny Wang before me. "Nanny Wang, you're really bold. How dare you break into my room, the crown princess of the Marquis' manor?" Nanny Wang stood there, saying a few perfunctory greetings, but her attitude showed no respect at all. "This old servant greets the crown princess. Please forgive me, crown princess." This old servant was just afraid of making the old lady wait too long, so I took the liberty. Right after, I slapped her face directly. "You still know you're a servant. Today you dare break into my room, tomorrow will you break into the hare's room too? Don't use mother-in-law's orders as an excuse. I don't believe she would send someone to search her daughter-in-law's room at midnight. If word gets out, people will think mother-in-law is an evil mother-in-law in-law who deliberately makes things difficult for her new daughter-in-law. My words made Nanny Wang furious to the point of madness, her face stiff with anger. You dare hit me? I laughed coldly. So what if I hit you? In this Marquis manor, I am the crown princess, you are a servant. I am the master, you are the slave. If I don't hit you, who should I hit? Even if I sold you, it would just be one word from me. If it were an ordinary servant, I wouldn't want to make things difficult. But Nanny Wang was Lady Jing's right hand. Relying on her favor, this nanny had given me trouble many times before. She had a son who was a worthless scoundrel, indulging in debauchery. In my previous life, when I was imprisoned by that rebellious son Vincent Jing, it was Nanny Wang's son who guarded me. She even cruelly indulged her son to rape me, hoping I would bear a child for that scoundrel. I desperately resisted and hit my head attempting suicide. This grudge is irreconcilable. How could I let her live peacefully? Rose heard this and broke free from the maids, running toward me. Right. You're just a servant yet dare to be disrespectful to the crown princess. I'll report to our old master to ask clearly how your Marquis manor treats the crown princess. Our master and servant coordinated perfectly, making Nanny Wang so angry she seemed about to explode. She shouted, "The old lady has ordered, even if we have to drag you, we must take the crown princess away. What are you all standing there for? Get moving." Seeing they really wanted to use force, clearly not regarding me as the crown princess at all. Since I wouldn't stay here long anyway, I didn't care about offending them anymore. I immediately took the sword my father gave as dowry and slashed straight at Nanny Wang's neck. Nanny Wang had her throat cut by my strike, blood spraying far. She stared with disbelieving eyes, staggering back several steps before falling in the courtyard. The servants and maids she brought screamed in extreme fear and scattered in panic. Murder! Murder! The crown princess has killed someone. When Marcus and Lady Jing arrived, I was wearing simple white clothes, sitting on the doorstep, calmly using a handkerchief to wipe the blood off my sword. Nanny Wang's corpse lay in the middle of the courtyard, blood everywhere. Seeing Marcus and Lady Jing, I smiled. Husband, mother-in-law, why have you come? Both saw the scene before them and stepped back in horror, their expressions as if seeing a ghost. Seeing their horrified faces, I calmly said, "Oh, this servant broke into my room at midnight and sent people to capture me. I feared she had dark plots that would affect my husband and mother-in-law, so I killed her." Nanny Wang had served Lady Jing since childhood, attending her for decades. Seeing Nanny Wang's corpse lying there, Lady Jing couldn't maintain the usual composure of a Marquis manor's lady. She cursed viciously, You poisonous woman. Nanny Wang was sent by me. If you didn't want to come, fine, but how could you casually kill someone?" I pretended to be surprised. "What? Mother-in-law sent her? Why? Sending someone to capture your daughter-in-law on the wedding night, what did mother-in-law intend to do? Were you trying to harm me?" My face was full of fear as I shrank toward the door. "Father, save me." Rose heard this and jumped up angrily, cursing fiercely. "Your Marquis manor is too much. Our young miss is the precious daughter of the Grand General. How dare you treat her with such contempt? Such an insolent servant daring to act this way, killing her was letting her off easy. In my opinion, she should have been cut into 100 pieces. We must report this to the old general." Hearing Rose's words, the maids and servants who came with me as dowry also came out, surrounding me with a ready-to-fight stance. When the situation reached its peak tension, Sophia somehow also arrived. Not knowing what had happened, she asked confusedly, "Cousin, what's happening?" Seeing the corpse, she screamed, "Ah! Someone's dead." She hurriedly burrowed into Marcus's embrace. "Cousin, I'm so scared." Seeing this, Marcus immediately held her tightly, comforting her. "Sophia, don't be afraid. I'm here. I won't let this poisonous woman hurt you at all. Eleanor, don't go too far. Kneel down and apologize to mother immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for taking you to the authorities." Hearing Marcus speak, I couldn't help but feel admiration. How could a person be both so stupid and so vicious? I raised my sword, pointing at the three of them in turn. "Fine, let's go to the authorities then. I'll tell them that your Marquis manor coveted my dowry and plotted to harm me. I only killed Nanny Wang in self-defense. Nanny Wang broke into my room at midnight, many eyes witnessed it. You cannot deny it. Even if we have to report to the Emperor, I'm not afraid. At worst, it's mutual destruction. If I can't have peace, neither will you." Marcus conspired with Prince Lai, Naturally, his heart was full of guilt. Hearing my words, his face immediately darkened. Eleanor, family scandals shouldn't be publicized. For such a small matter, you dare make a scene before the emperor. You think the Golden Phoenix Hall is your home. Then he gritted his teeth and said, if a servant rebels, just kill them. It's late, everyone is tired. How about we all rest first? Lady Jing was so angry she almost fainted. How could she let this go so easily? Nanny Wang was my wet nurse. She raised me from childhood. Marcus lowered his voice and spoke in her ear. Mother, we can't make a big deal of this. Don't ruin His Highness's important matter. I'm about to go to the front lines. The Marquis' Manor still needs her as crown princess to maintain face. I smiled to myself. He still wanted to go to the front lines, playing his old tricks. He wouldn't be going anywhere. Thinking this, I said loudly to Sophia, did you hear? My husband says to let this matter go. Hurry and clean up this place. The courtyard is full of blood, how can anyone sleep? Sophia heard my words, stunned and trembling, pointing at herself. Me? I laughed coldly. That's right, you. Aren't you my husband's concubine? I'm the principal wife. Can't I order you around? Quickly remove the corpse and bring water to clean the courtyard. Marcus shouted angrily. Eleanor, are you crazy? Sophia is still pregnant. I smiled, raising my sword to point at Marcus. Admitting it now. The principal wife hasn't even entered the door, yet the concubine is already pregnant. What a fine family tradition of your Marquis' manor. Marcus, today I, Eleanor, say clearly I cannot accept this child. If you want, obediently abort the child in her belly. Otherwise, we'll divorce immediately. Tonight I'll pack my things and return to the general's manor. The Marquis' manor had been in decline for over 10 years since the old Marquis passed away. Lady Jing married off her daughters for face, but she and Marcus had no talent for management, so by now the family fortune had almost completely dissipated. The large Marquis' manor was just an empty shell, needing my dowry to maintain it. My dowry of 180,000 taels, who wouldn't covet it? Lady Jing immediately cried out, how can you talk about divorce right after marriage? If word gets out, what face will the Marquis' manor have left? The heir's child is also your flesh and blood. How can you be so heartless? I laughed mockingly. In my previous life, that bastard child ate my food, drank my wine, and in the end harmed and tortured me to death. Now I'm just not letting it be born. That's already being too merciful. Don't say more, Marcus. I'm asking you, do you want to keep this woman or keep me? Choose for yourself. I don't have much patience. I counted to 3. 1, 2, 3. Marcus was sweating cold from my pressure. Eleanor, don't force me. I immediately said, Rose, pack our things. We're leaving immediately. I'll send the divorce letter to your manor. Marcus, our marriage ends here. Take care of yourself. The next second, the hesitating Marcus suddenly rushed forward and grabbed me. You really want to force me to kill my own flesh and blood? I glanced at him. That's right. I want you to personally abort her. No abortion medicine allowed. My words made Sophia's face turn deathly pale. Truly skilled at pretending, her tears flowed like broken pearls, looking truly pitiful. Young lord, don't do this. This is your flesh and blood. Marcus gritted his teeth, eyes full of hatred. He pushed her away hard, shouting for servants. Bring the rod. Hearing this, Sophia was terrified. No. Young lord, don't, please. I'll leave the Marquis' manor, never appear before the crown princess again, okay? I beg you, please keep this child. No longer arrogant like before, I laughed coldly at her. You want to keep this child, then later return to claim ancestry. Sophia, do you think I'm that stupid? Then I looked at Marcus. Do it. Marcus took a deep breath, grabbed the arm-thick rod, and struck hard on Sophia's back. Just hearing a piercing scream, Sophia was beaten to the ground. Marcus continued chasing and hitting her several more times. Sophia was drenched in cold sweat, her dress already soaked with blood. I personally checked her pulse, then laughed coldly and turned to leave. This cheap woman harmed me in my previous life. This is still letting her off easy. Sophia's heartbreaking cries rang out behind me. Lanor, you poisonous woman. You killed my child. I'll take your life. My heart wasn't moved at all, I even wanted to laugh. Being a poisonous woman is truly satisfying. The blood debt the Jing family owes me, I'll collect bit by bit. Sophia lost her child and was dragged outside. I fixed my hair, glanced at Marcus and Lady Jing, then smiled and said, all right, it's late. Husband and mother-in-law should rest early. Tomorrow I still have to serve tea to honor mother-in-law. Both were angry but didn't dare speak. Thinking about how I dared to kill and remain calm, they had to leave. When everyone had left and the courtyard door was closed, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Rose patted her chest fearfully. Miss, just now this servant was scared to death. Nanny Wang dared to offend you. Fortunately Miss was brave and killed her with one sword strike. I sheathed my sword and said coldly. Just wait. The old lady and young lord won't let this go. I told Rose to withdraw, then realized the man who had snuck into my room earlier had disappeared. Thinking of the ledger, I gritted my teeth angrily. Damn it, still didn't get the ledger. Because of last night's events, Marcus didn't go to the frontier like in my previous life. Sophia losing her child pained him immensely. He stayed by her side all night without sleep. Such deep love and loyalty. I thought after killing Nanny Wang and causing Sophia's miscarriage, I would surely toss and turn unable to sleep. Unexpectedly, I had a peaceful, dreamless sleep. Early the next morning, I got up early and went to Lady Jing's courtyard to pay respects. The head maid Pearl beside the old looked at me with fearful eyes, her voice trembling. Crown Princess, the old lady fell ill after returning yesterday. I'm afraid she cannot see the Crown Princess for some time. The old lady said the Crown Princess is new here and unfamiliar with many manor affairs, so there's no need to come pay respects every morning and evening. Hearing this, I raised an eyebrow slightly. Such a good thing. That saves me from having to pretend to be respectful. In my previous life, this old woman made me come to her side every day to establish rules. Even when drinking water, she made me pour it myself then kneel to present it to her. Now I've brought her tea and she doesn't dare drink it. I immediately said, "What? Mother-in-law is ill. Why didn't you say earlier? I know a bit about medicine. Let me check mother-in-law's pulse." Led the way quickly. Pearl heard my words and widened her eyes in surprise. "Crown Princess, no need," I said. "How can that be? Mother-in-law's health is most important." Ignoring Pearl's objection, I barged straight in. At this time, Lady Jing was lying in bed with eyes closed, resting. I approached and put my hand on her forehead. Feeling someone beside her, Lady Jing drowsily opened her eyes. Seeing me, the expression on her face was no different from seeing a ghost. Why are you here?" I withdrew my hand and smiled friendly. "Of course to visit mother-in-law's illness, see what illness mother-in-law has." Lady Jing immediately pushed me away, panicking and struggling. "I'm fine. I don't need your examination. Get out quickly. I don't want to see you." Hearing her say this, I pretended to be sad. "Mother-in-law, how can you say that? What has your daughter-in-law done wrong?" Lady Jing seemed frightened by me, shouting in panic, Pearl, come save me. Quickly drive this crazy person out." Pearl heard the order and ran in, but was frightened by my gaze and didn't dare approach. I stood up, adjusted my clothes, and looked at Lady Jing with a cold smile. "Mother-in-law says she's not sick, but clearly she's talking nonsense. How am I crazy? I'm your filial daughter-in-law. In my opinion, the one who's really crazy is mother-in-law. How about I write a memorial to the palace inviting the imperial physician to examine mother-in-law?" Lady Jing was scared by the point of crying. "No, I don't need you. Go." Seeing today's intimidation was enough, I finally left. "All right, mother-in-law, rest well. Your daughter-in-law takes her leave." When I walked out of Lady Jing's room, the two people inside looked like they had just sent off the plague god. Rose asked, "Miss, what do we do now?" I thought for a moment then said, "Let's go out for a stroll. Prepare the carriage. Just say I want to go outside the city to the reclining Buddha temple to burn incense and pray for mother-in-law's blessing." Rose looked at me puzzled. I didn't explain, just urged, "Hurry and go." The carriage quickly rolled to the reclining Buddha temple outside the city. This matter of rebirth was truly too strange. I felt uneasy in my heart, fearing it was all just a dream, so I came to the temple to pray for peace of mind. I told Rose to offer incense money and respectfully light incense before the Buddha statue. Unexpectedly, I don't know if the incense was damp, but it wouldn't light no matter what. Rose saw this and looked at me with confusion. "Miss, what's going on? Why won't the incense light?" We called a young monk from the temple to change to another bundle of incense, but it still wouldn't light. My gaze gradually darkened. Not believing this, I tried lighting it again myself, but the incense seemed to resist me, breaking in half midway. I got angry. Could even incense oppose me? I laughed coldly and said, "Fine. If Buddha won't save me, then I'll become a demon." After that, I also prayed for some peace talismans for people in the Marquis' manor before returning. Unexpectedly, on the way back we were by a group of mountain bandits. Rose shouted in panic, "Miss, this is bad. We've encountered bandits." I was puzzled inside. This was the capital's suburbs, security had always been good. I'd never heard of mountain bandits. If there were bandits, the authorities would have sent troops to suppress them long ago. But the bandits were extremely fierce, killing our guards as soon as they arrived. I held Rose tightly behind me, gripping my sword tightly. "Miss, what should we do?" I gritted my teeth. Though unwilling, there was no other way. Wait a moment. If they just want to rob, give them all our valuables. But if they want to do evil things to us, we'll die together. I gave the sword to Rose. "You go first, I'll follow." Rose looked at me, then at the sword, crying even more miserably. I was also very sad. I had just been reborn, my revenge not yet taken, unexpectedly facing such a tragic ending. How unwilling. Just when I didn't know what to do, a figure in golden armor descended from the sky, one sword piercing through the bandit leader's chest. Rose shouted, "Miss, someone's come to save us. It seems to be the Golden Guard." I was stunned. The Golden Guard? Aren't they the Crown Prince's personal guards? Why would they appear here? Looking up at the general in golden armor approaching, he removed his golden mask and looked at me with mocking eyes. "Isn't this the brave Crown Princess? Why are you scared now?" It turned out to be the man in black who broke into my room yesterday to steal the ledger. "It's you." I frowned at him. "Who exactly are you?" He glanced at me. "Of course I'm a good person." The Golden Guard were indeed well trained. In no time, they had swept away the bandits. A Golden Guard stepped forward and knelt. "Your Highness, the bandits have been eliminated, keeping 2 alive." The other person said, "Bring them here." 2 bandits were escorted over, kneeling on the ground, kowtowing for mercy. "Spare us, sir. Spare us. We were just trying to make a living. Please don't kill us." I got out of the carriage, drew my sword and held it to one bandit's shoulder. "How did you know my carriage would pass here? Did someone order you? Speak." The 2 bandits looked at each other, hesitating to speak. My sword swung up, immediately cutting off one's ear. The remaining one was terrified. I'll talk. The anyone Marquis heir. He came to our camp leader, told us to kidnap you." Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh coldly. "Marquis, indeed it's you." Just when I was worried about not having the ledger to catch him, he delivered himself to my door. I immediately turned and knelt before the general in golden armor. "The anyone Marquis Manor heir Marquis hired assassins to kill his wife. The evidence is conclusive. I beg your Highness the Crown Prince to seek justice for me." Hearing my words, the person raised an eyebrow slightly. "How do you know I'm the Crown Prince?" Being able to command the Golden Guard and being called your Highness. If I couldn't figure it out, wouldn't I be too stupid? The current Crown Prince Alexander Shi is the Empress's legitimate eldest son. From birth, he was made Crown Prince, deeply favored and valued by the Emperor. He was also granted the Golden Guard as his personal guards. In his youth, the Crown Prince had studied military strategy and martial arts under my father as his teacher. However, His Highness the Crown Prince acts mysteriously, rarely appearing before others, so not many in court have seen his true appearance. My carriage was damaged. Alexander ordered someone to drive Rose back to the manor, while I was pulled up to sit with him on his horse. Alexander and I could be considered acquainted through conflict. Initially I thought the Crown Prince, so high above, must be a serious, frightening person. I didn't expect him to have such a personality. Watching a Golden Guard drive Rose away, she raised her hand with tears in her eyes, making me ask, "Why not let me ride in the carriage?" Alexander's long arm held me tightly against his chest as the horse advanced forward. "The Crown Princess is my teacher's daughter. If anything happens, I can hardly shirk responsibility. It's better to escort you personally." His words said that, but his tone held no kindness at all. I struggled to get down from the horse. "This subject already has a husband. I cannot sit with your Highness on the same horse. Please let me down, your Highness. I'll return to the manor myself." Alexander only held tighter, leaning close to my ear and whispering, not letting go. "Marquis hired assassins to kill his wife. You're going back just like that?" I turned my head warily to look at him. "Does your Highness want to seek justice for me?" Alexander didn't answer, just asked back. "If it were you, how would you seek justice yourself?" I answered, "Of course report to the authorities." Alexander laughed. No need for such trouble. Then he shouted loudly, spurring the warhorse beneath us to gallop straight to the Marquis Manor. The Golden Guard had surrounded the manor since early morning. Rose was waiting outside the door. Seeing me, she immediately ran over. Alexander pulled me down from the horse. At this time, Marcus and Lady Jing also walked out from inside. Seeing me, Marcus immediately said loudly, "Eleanor, what exactly is going on here?" Seeing Alexander standing beside me, he roared, "Who is he? You're really bold. As the crown princess, you dare meet with strange men and even bring him back to the manor to show off." Hearing this, I really wanted to roll my eyes to the sky. I couldn't understand how in my previous life I was harmed so miserably by this idiot. How bold. You dare publicly insult His Highness the Crown Prince. Are you tired of living? Crown Prince? Marcus looked at Alexander in shock, as if unable to believe what he just heard. How is that possible? You're just a woman from the inner chambers. How could you know His Highness the Crown Prince? Don't lie to me. Alexander didn't bother responding, just stood there with a cold, proud expression. A general beside him laughed coldly. You don't recognize His Highness the Crown Prince. Don't you even recognize this general? This is the left guard general of the Golden Guard, Xiao Hang. Marcus recognized it was real, his face immediately turned pale. He knelt down. This subject greets His Highness the Crown Prince. I don't know what brings your highness here. Alexander looked down at him from above, his tone full of contempt. Anyone Marquis Herr Marcus, conspiring with bandits to hire assassins to kill your wife. Such heinous crimes, someone. Arrest him and throw him in the imperial prison for the Ministry of Justice to investigate. Hearing this, Marcus was stunned speechless. What? Lady Jing heard her son was about to be thrown in prison and cried and begged. Your Highness, is there some misunderstanding? Alexander laughed coldly. The bandits have confessed everything. The witnesses and evidence are complete. What misunderstanding could there be? If I hadn't happened to pass by today, the crown princess would have lost her life. Without saying more, he waved his hand. Take him away. The Golden Guard immediately dragged Marcus away. Lady Jing cried but couldn't stop them. Without hope, she turned to hit me. You poisonous woman. Yesterday you made me lose my grandchild. Now you want to harm my son too. She cried. I cried too. Mother-in-law, what are you saying? Your daughter-in-law kindly went to reclining Buddha temple to pray for husband and mother-in-law's blessings. Who knew husband would hire bandits to kill your daughter-in-law? Thanks to His Highness the Crown Prince's rescue, your daughter-in-law's life was saved. Husband being arrested is his own doing. How is it related to your daughter-in-law? Mother-in-law treating your daughter-in-law this way. Do you also want to go to prison with husband? Lady Jing was cornered by me until she choked up, trembling as she pointed at me. You. She stuttered for a long time, finally saying nothing and fainting. I hurried forward. Mother-in-law, are you all right? But my hands were slippery, letting Lady Jing fall to the ground with a thud. Oh dear, my hands have no strength, couldn't catch her. What are you all standing there for? Quickly help the old lady up. Call the physician. Having just married in for one day, I'd already turned the Marquis' manor upside down. All the servants in the manor feared me, no one dared disobey. They hurriedly carried Lady Jing to her room. The physician came to examine her and said Lady Jing was fine, just fainted from excessive shock and internal heat attacking the heart. A few doses of medicine would cure her. I was slightly disappointed. Oh, then thank you, physician. Seeing Lady Jing still unconscious, I went to Sophia's courtyard. No other choice, my fate was to be a busy person, unable to sit still. Marcus was arrested and imprisoned. Lady Jing had fallen ill. In Sophia's courtyard, no one was serving her. She had just miscarried, her injuries severe, burning with fever, lying flat on the bed unable to get up. In her delirium she whispered for water. Just opening her eyes, Sophia saw me standing before her. Her pupils contracted, her eyes widening as she looked at me full of rage. Why is it you? Where's the young lord? I held the water pitcher and poured the water right in front of her, water splashing on her face. Want water? I've poured it all out, won't give you a single drop. Still dreaming of your young lord. What a pity, he won't be coming back. He conspired with bandits to hire assassins to kill his wife, was just arrested by the Golden Guard, now locked in the imperial prison. Hearing this, Sophia panted heavily, trying to reach out to hit me, but I quickly dodged aside. Watching her open her mouth but unable to speak, looking no different from a dead fish. I tilted my head listening. What did you say? Old lady. The old lady has also fallen ill. She can't even take care of herself. How would she have time for you? Now your life is in my hands. But don't worry, I won't let you die so easily. I won't give you water to drink, nor food to eat. I'll slowly torture you. Ha ha, Sophia used all her strength to hoarsely shout. Eleanor. You poisonous woman, you won't have a good ending. I grabbed her chin tightly, lifting her face, laughing coldly. No good ending. I've already experienced that. Now it's your turn. Poisonous woman. I like that title. Today is another happy day being a poisonous woman. When my father learned Marcus wanted to harm me, that evening he stormed into the Marquis' manor saying he'd take me home. I didn't go, only telling him to take my dowry back to our house. Father, I'm still the crown princess of the Marquis' manor. My husband is already in prison, how can I abandon mother-in-law at this time? Father angrily scolded me. Had I known Marcus was such a worthless person, I wouldn't have let you marry here. What's there in that house that you still stay? If you're worried about people's gossip, don't be. I want to see who dares say half a bad word about General Ning's daughter. I gently reassured him. Father, don't worry. It's not that I won't return, just not yet. I promise, Father, as soon as Marcus signs the divorce papers, I'll come home immediately, all right? After much persuasion, Father finally left in frustration. Before leaving, he told me if anything happened, just have Rose report home first, he would definitely be my support. After seeing Father off, I returned to the Marquis' manor. From now on, this Marquis' manor would be hell on earth. Marcus was in prison, Lady Jing had fallen ill. In this Marquis' manor, I monopolized all power, wanting rain, there was rain, wanting wind, there was wind. Nanny Wang's son who stole property from the manor, I found an excuse to beat him to death and threw him in the mass grave for wild dogs to eat. Those servants and maids who had bullied me, one by one were all settled with, some beaten, some sold, some thrown in prison. In less than half a month, I had nearly destroyed the entire Marquis' manor. The servants called me the living king of hell behind my back, competing to resign. Soon only a few old servants with nowhere to go remained in the manor. Lady Jing lay sick for half a month before sitting up, discovering no maids or servants beside her, only an old gatekeeper bringing her tea. She asked in shock, Butler Li, why is it you? Where is everyone else? Butler Li, hunched with bleary eyes, sighed. Reporting to the old lady they've all left, I'm old with nowhere to return to. So I stayed. There's also Chef Li in the kitchen and Little Bean Joe tending the fire. Lady Jing heard this and almost fainted again. Eleanor. You poisonous woman. You've destroyed my entire Marquis' manor. When Lady Jing's words reached my ears, I was behind closed doors eating hoppet rose. Let her curse. After all, her son couldn't return anymore. Alexander sent someone to inform me that Marcus had been imprisoned. At first he refused to confess, but after several rounds of torture, he confessed everything, admitting he hired bandits to kill me. He was sentenced to exile 3,000 miles away, but Alexander didn't need that. Marcus's exile or death meant nothing to him. He wanted a confession about Prince Li's rebellion, so he continued torturing. Every day Marcus was beaten, every day he had to confess, even confessing that at 8 years old he had peeked at maids bathing, until he had nothing left to confess. Alexander's people saw he was too stupid and hinted to him. Only then did Marcus understand their target wasn't him but Prince Li behind him. But he couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want to die in prison. So he spilled everything he knew like beans pouring from a bamboo tube, even confessing clearly about that ledger. Alexander read the confession and ordered him to sign divorce papers with me, then granted him the mercy of voluntary death. As for Sophia, after 3 days of starvation without dying, she stole property from the manor trying to escape, but I caught her red-handed, sent her to the authorities, and she was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Her wounds hadn't healed and her health was weak. Just days after entering prison, she died of illness. Her body was still abandoned in the public cemetery with no one to claim it. I pitied the ill, fated lovers who couldn't share a bed in life, so in death they should share a grave. So I burned both their bodies and threw them in the same cesspit. Lady Jing wanted to kill me for revenge, but when Prince Li's weapons manufacturing and rebellion plot was exposed, the entire Li clan was sentenced to execution of 9 generations. The Marquis' manor couldn't avoid being implicated. Lady Jing was sentenced to beheading immediately. The entire Marquis Manor was completely destroyed with no survivors. Seeing they were all dead, I was at peace and happily returned to my maternal home. Alexander, a crown prince, was surprisingly idle like this. Today sending snacks, tomorrow sending jewelry, the day after inviting me for outings outside the city. I really didn't understand what His Highness intended. Whatever your Highness needs, please speak directly. Your Highness has helped me so much, you're my benefactor. As long as you ask, I'll give my all for you, absolutely won't refuse. Alexander looked at me with complex eyes. Eleanor, do you really not remember anything? This place, this peach tree, even these cloud cakes, you don't remember? I scratched my head. What should I remember? Alexander looked at me for a long time, then suddenly pulled me down and kissed me. Fine then, how annoying. At least kissing once makes up for the frustration. The Crown Prince exposed Prince Lai's rebellion plot and achieved great merit. Right on the Crown Prince's 20th birthday, the Emperor and Empress held a banquet in the palace to choose a Crown Princess. That day I followed father to the palace for the feast. While peacefully dining, I was suddenly called out. This son wholeheartedly admires the Grand General's daughter, Eleanor. I beg Father Emperor and Mother Empress to grant this marriage. As soon as these words ended, the entire hall fell silent. The other noble young ladies looked at me with piercing gazes. The Empress immediately darkened her face. Alexander, don't be foolish. Miss Ning has already married. How can she be Crown Princess? Alexander replied, Eleanor and Marcus never consummated their marriage. Moreover, Marcus conspired with Prince Li to rebel. He's a criminal. General Ning's family is loyal, serving the country with one heart. This marriage was originally insignificant. Besides, this time I found evidence of Prince Lai's rebellion. Miss Ning contributed greatly. I think among the thousands of noble daughters in court, only Eleanor is worthy to be crown princess. At this, both Emperor and Empress showed difficulty. What is Eleanor's intention? My intention was naturally to refuse. Your Majesty, Your Highness the Empress, I don't wish to marry again. After this incident, I've come to understand the preciousness of family bonds. I only wish to stay by father's side for life. If I must marry, it can only be taking a husband into our family, not marrying out. This time it was Alexander's turn to be stunned. As the Grand Crown Prince, naturally he couldn't marry into the general's manor. I refused to marry him, and he refused to marry anyone else, so the matter of choosing a crown princess kept being delayed. The next year, my father retired and returned to his hometown. I followed father, leaving the capital to return home and pay respects to ancestors, gone for half a year. During that time, I wandered mountains and rivers, feeling like the bruises left from my previous life were gradually fading. It's just that no matter where I went, Alexander's letters and gifts still followed like shadows. My beloved wife, the flowers have bloomed on the road, you can slowly return home now. My beloved wife, this hairpin suits you well. My beloved wife, this pair of jade pendants symbolize our hearts united, together until our hair turns white. My beloved wife, I miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you. When did I become his beloved wife? I struggled so hard to escape that golden cage, no way would I return to be bound for life again. Crown princess or empress, neither is what I want. So I can only refuse him. After over a year of traveling with father, we finally set off to return to the capital. The first night back at the general's manor, there was an intruder in my chambers. Unexpectedly at midnight while sleeping, I felt someone standing beside me. Alexander emotionally said, "We haven't seen each other for so long. Eleanor, we can marry now. I'm not the crown prince anymore. I was switched. I can marry into your family now." I was stunned. What? Alexander explained that years ago, the empress and a palace maid the emperor favored both gave birth. The maid's wet nurse deliberately switched the maid's child with the crown prince. I'm not the empress's son, I'm the palace maid's son, so I can marry into your family now. Looking at Alexander's serious face, I took a long time to react. So he wasn't joking. I really admitted defeat. Are you crazy? You're the palace maid's son yet served as crown prince for over 20 years. If the real one finds out, won't he expose you? Even the empress won't spare you. You think they'll let someone who was crown prince like you marry into the grand general's house? You still want to be a son-in-law, Alexander said. So what? Then elope with me. Eleanor, let's run away. I couldn't help rolling my eyes. I already didn't want to be crown princess, now you're not crown prince anymore and I still have to elope with you. Alexander grabbed my hand tightly. Let's elope. Let's elope. Eleanor, my greatest wish in life is to elope with you. Great idea. Don't think about it again next time. Unexpectedly, I still ended up eloping with Alexander, just being dragged away by him. Eloping, isn't that supposed to be when two people deeply in love run away together? I don't want to marry you, why should I elope with you? Alexander corrected me. You should say marrying in, not marrying out. Now I'm marrying into your family. My dear wife, from now on we're united as one. You weave, I plow. I'll take the Ning surname. Our children will be surnamed Ning. We'll be husband and wife united. Our days will surely be happy and prosperous. After we have children, I'll bring them to meet father-in-law. He'll surely be very happy. You think so beautifully. The so-called elopement actually didn't go far, just to a small village on the capital's outskirts. Alexander and I, with the villagers' help, got married and lived as husband and wife for 3 days. He didn't know how to plow fields, I didn't know how to weave. I brought hundreds of thousands of taels in silver notes when eloping. Must we really plow this field? Can't we just not weave this cloth? Also, must we definitely live in the village? Alexander pouted aggrievedly. But everyone else lives like this. I couldn't help poking his chest. Who is everyone else? I want to ask clearly, who is this everyone? Alexander tilted his head and listed a series of names. My face darkened. Those are all characters from romance novels. I couldn't help glaring at him. You've really read quite a lot. You live this life, I'm not living it anymore. Just as I stepped outside, suddenly several people jumped down from the courtyard wall, kneeling before us. Subordinates greet His Highness the Crown Prince. Greet the Crown Princess. The Emperor orders Your Highness and the Crown Princess to return to the palace. I was dumbfounded, turning back to look at Alexander with confusion. Weren't you the palace-maid's son? Why are they still calling you Crown Prince? Were those previous words all made up to trick me into eloping? Hearing this, Alexander covered his nose and coughed hard. Cough, cough, cough. My dear wife, let me explain. Alexander said the emperor was seriously ill, urgently summoning the crown prince back to the capital to oversee the country. My elopement adventure with Alexander had gone for just over a month and already ended. We left as 2, returned as 3. That's right, I was pregnant. The emperor and empress, no matter how unhappy, had to accept me as daughter-in-law. But I wasn't very satisfied either. Clearly I wanted to take a husband into my family. How did it become marrying out? On the wedding day, Father held my hand tightly, comforting me. Eleanor, it's easy to get 1,000 gold pieces, hard to find someone who loves deeply. Father sees the crown prince is sincere to you. Marry him. Poor child has persistently loved you for so long. In the past when he came to our house to study, every day he carried you around everywhere. You said when you grew up you'd marry him. Don't you remember? You were not even 5 years old then, how could you remember? Now seeing you two together, even with a child, Father is truly satisfied. Even if I died right now, I'd have face to meet your mother. I looked at Father stunned. Really, why don't I remember anything? Alexander's voice rang out from behind. Because you're heartless. Eleanor, I punish you from now on, you can never leave me again. Because of memories from my previous life, I was always cold and heartless. Now looking at Alexander before me, I truly felt I had been reborn. The old matters were like they had died. Yesterday's happiness was right before my eyes, just needing to reach out to grasp it. Alexander, you really are a fool. Alexander answered. Yes, I'm a fool, foolishly only loving you. This life, next life, always foolish like this, never wanting to become smart. I married Alexander and became crown princess. On our wedding night in the Mandarin duck bedding, we held each other tightly. In my dream, I seemed to return to my previous life where I lay dead in the mass grave. A person in black dragon robes desperately searched through the mass grave, finally embracing my broken body in his arms as if it were a treasure. Under the rain, that face was clearly Alexander lying beside me now. This story teaches us that second chances are rare gifts that demand courage to break destructive cycles. Eleanor's rebirth wasn't just about revenge, but about recognizing her own worth and refusing to accept mistreatment. True love requires mutual respect and genuine care, not manipulation or obligation. Sometimes the person who seems furthest from our expectations becomes our greatest ally. Most importantly, when given the opportunity to rewrite our story, we must choose self-respect over societal expectations, action over passive suffering, and authentic connections over convenient arrangements that diminish our value. The story ends here for now. If it touched your heart or left you thinking, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share Raccoon Tale to help more stories come to life. See you in the next tale.